Welcome to the Daily Drop on Pro Ball Daily. I'm Mike.
And I'm Tara. And folks, strap in because today's data is absolutely wild. We've got teams playing Jekyll and Hyde with their monthly performances, dynasties asserting their dominance, and some shocking names climbing the power rankings ladder. Mike, I'm looking straight at the Atlanta Hawks right now. What is going on in Atlanta?
Tara, you're not wrong. It's a baffling roller coaster. But we'll get to the NBA in a minute, I promise. First, let's tip things off in the college ranks, because the NCAA Basketball Power Index has some names in its top 5 that might make you do a double take.
Oh, absolutely. Michigan Wolverines sitting pretty at number 1 with 80.4 points. That's expected. But then George Mason Patriots at number 2 with 79.7? Mike, I have to ask, are we living in an alternate universe? George Mason has historically been a mid-major darling, but jumping ahead of Arizona, Duke, and UMass in the Power Index, that is a statement.
It absolutely is. And it's not by a small margin either. They're nipping at Michigan's heels. This isn't just a good start. This speaks to a consistent level of performance that the analytics are picking up. It really makes you wonder if they're building something truly special this season, a legitimate Cinderella story in the making, or if this is just an incredible hot streak that will eventually cool off. My money's on them proving everyone wrong.
I'm not entirely sold on them maintaining this. While it's fantastic to see, the historical context makes me cautious. But then you have Arizona at 3, Duke at 4, and UMass rounding out the top 5. Duke being at 4 is a bit lower than I typically expect, especially with their pedigree. What gives there?
Well, the trend data might give us a hint, Tara. Duke Blue Devils games are going under their average total of 145 points 40% of the time. The same for Michigan, going under their 155-point average 40% of the time. That suggests these are either defensive slugfests or their offenses aren't consistently exploding. For Duke, often known for their high-flying talent, this could indicate a more grinding style or perhaps some offensive growing pains.
Or maybe just playing against really good defensive teams. It's hard to tell without context, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on, especially as we head towards March Madness. Speaking of dominance, though, the UConn Huskies are absolutely laying waste to opponents at home. Their stat of the day? A perfect 100% at home with a staggering plus 25.0 scoring margin over opponents. That's not just winning, that's pure, unadulterated domination.
25 points a game at home? That's unheard of. That's a fortress, Tara. You step into their arena, you're not just hoping to win, you're hoping to survive. They are making teams look like high school squads. If they can carry even half that road, they are a legitimate championship threat. And let's not forget the St. John's Red Storm, who went 100% in March, an 11.1% bump over their season baseline. Talk about hitting your stride at the right time. Could they be a dark horse candidate nobody is talking about?
Absolutely. March success is the ultimate predictor for the tournament. St. John's clearly found something that month, and if they can tap into that again, they could make some noise. But let's shift gears to La Liga, because one team is truly in a league of its own.
You're talking about Barcelona, aren't you? Their power index score of 80.9 points absolutely dwarfs the rest of the league. Alaves is second, but they're way back at 60.7. That's a 20-point gap, and Barcelona is backing that up with an 8-game winning streak. They are just in a different stratosphere.
It's incredible to see that level of consistent performance. They're not just winning, they're dominating. It really does make you wonder if anyone in La Liga can genuinely challenge them for the title this season. It feels like they've already got one hand on the trophy. But while Barcelona is cruising, some traditional powerhouses are absolutely floundering.
Oh, this is the juicy part, Tara. Atlético Madrid on a 4-game losing streak, Real Betis on a 6-game losing streak, and Sevilla on a 5-game losing streak. What on earth is happening to these teams? That's not just a slump, that's a free fall.
It's baffling. These aren't bottom feeders. These are teams with significant history and talent. Atlético Madrid, a perennial contender, a 4-game skid is highly uncharacteristic. It hints at deeper systemic issues, perhaps defensive breakdowns or an inability to convert chances. For Real Betis and Sevilla, well, a 5- and 6-game losing streak respectively, they are in absolute crisis mode. It points to a serious lack of confidence, maybe some internal turmoil, or perhaps key injuries that have just derailed their seasons. It's a bloodbath in the mid-table, and these teams desperately need to find a way to stop the bleeding.
They really do. You have to wonder if coaching changes are on the horizon if these trends continue. Now let's slide over to the Diamond because we had some action in MLB.
Indeed, the Atlanta Braves are leading the MLB Power Index, followed by the Yankees, which feels pretty standard for baseball's elite. But the Chicago Cubs at number 3, that's an interesting jump. Are they truly a top-tier contender this season, or just an early season flash?
Time will tell on the Cubs, but one name absolutely exploded yesterday. Hunter Goodman for the Rockies. He posted a jaw-dropping 78 MLB rating in their 13-2 romp over Cincinnati. 78! That's MVP-level stuff for a single game. He must have hit 3 bombs, maybe driven in 6 or 7 runs. That's the kind of performance that puts a player on the map.
An absolute monster performance. And on the team trend front, the Arizona Diamondbacks are giving us whiplash too, Mike. They went 42% in March, minus 11.3% against their season baseline. Then, in April, they flip a switch, going 61%, which is plus 7.2% against their baseline. What is with these teams having such dramatic monthly swings?
It's the sheer unpredictability that makes baseball so great, isn't it? For the D-backs, that March performance could have been brutal, facing tough division opponents or struggling with early season adjustments. Then in April, they find their rhythm. Maybe some key players heat up or they hit a softer patch of the schedule. But it screams of a team that hasn't quite found its identity yet. Are they contenders or pretenders? The data says both, depending on the month. And the Athletics, who beat the Royals 5-2, saw a similar March surge, going 63%, which was plus 7.5% over their baseline. Are the A's quietly building something, or was that just a temporary high? Their win over KC might give them some momentum.
That's the question. You can't be consistently inconsistent and expect to go deep in October. Speaking of consistency, or lack thereof, let's head to the ice for some NHL action.
The Vegas Golden Knights are atop the Power Index with 72.4 points, closely followed by the Carolina Hurricanes. But Tara, look who's at number 3. The San Jose Sharks, 65.6 points. The Sharks? I mean, with all due respect, they haven't exactly been world beaters lately. Is the Power Index seeing something the rest of us aren't?
That is absolutely a head-scratcher, Mike. The San Jose Sharks at number 3 in the Power Index is perhaps the most surprising ranking across all leagues today. They've been in a rebuilding phase, to put it mildly. This either points to an incredible under-the-radar surge that hasn't made mainstream headlines, or it's an indicator of the Power Index picking up on some deeply efficient, perhaps defensively sound, underlying metrics that are outperforming their actual win-loss record against expectations. My guess is it's a combination of both, possibly a short-term hot streak that's really skewed the numbers. I need to see more games to truly believe they're a top-rate team.
I'm with you there. I'm skeptical. But hey, it makes for great podcast fodder. Now let's talk about a team that was undeniably hot, the Boston Bruins. Their stat of the day is insane. 91% success rate in January 2026, crushing their season baseline by 32.8%. That's not just dominant, that's historically good for a month.
91% in January? Mike, that is Stanley Cup contender material right there. That's a team playing with absolute confidence, firing on all cylinders, probably getting elite goaltending and timely scoring. But then you look at their March trend and it drops to 54%, a minus 10.4% against their baseline. What happened to them? Did they peak too early? Did injuries creep in? That kind of drop-off is deeply concerning for a team with championship aspirations.
It's the curse of consistency again. You go from utterly unstoppable to merely average. It makes you wonder if that January performance was unsustainable, or if they just ran out of gas. They need to find that January magic again if they want to make a deep playoff run. And quickly, the Philadelphia Flyers got a huge 1-0 shutout win over the Pittsburgh Penguins, a classic rivalry game, always intense. Montreal took down Tampa Bay 3-2, a solid road win for the Canadiens. And Vegas had to fight for their top spot, barely squeaking by Utah 5-4. No easy nights for the number 1 team.
Absolutely. Even the best teams get tested. Now let's jump onto the hardwood for some NBA analysis, because this league is giving us some truly head-spinning numbers.
Yes, the Oklahoma City Thunder are leading the Power Index at 77.2 points, followed by the New York Knicks and Charlotte Hornets, both tied at 68.3, then the Lakers and Nuggets. This is a very interesting top 5, a mix of established contenders and rising stars. But we have to talk about the Atlanta Hawks. You tease them at the top, and their trends are genuinely unbelievable.
Unbelievable is an understatement, Mike. Listen to this. Atlanta Hawks went 55% in February, which was minus 10.3% against their season baseline. Then, in March, they absolutely exploded, shooting 87%, a staggering plus 21.8% against their baseline over 15 games. They were world beaters. And then come April, they crashed back down to 45%, a shocking minus 19.4% against their baseline. Mike, what kind of team does this? Are they a contender, a lottery team, or a poorly programmed AI?
Tara, it's like watching 3 different teams over 3 months. The February dip suggests they were struggling, perhaps with injuries or chemistry issues. Then March, an 87% success rate over 15 games is absolutely elite, playoff level, almost championship contending basketball. That's not just a good run, that's a dominant stretch. You think they figured it out, but then April hits and they plummet, going negative 19.4% against their baseline. That's worse than February.
It's the ultimate emotional roller coaster for their fans. This screams of a fundamental lack of identity or consistency. It could be coaching, it could be locker room dynamics, it could be a single superstar having wildly inconsistent performances, or even just an incredibly variable schedule. But you cannot trust a team with that kind of volatility in the playoffs. One month they could beat